1967. Summer of love, psychedelic grooves, and space-age moves. Get ready as we journey through a year that defined a generation. 1. The Summer of Love defines the hippie movement, June to August 1967. 100,000 young people gather in San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury district, embracing peace, love, and counterculture. Unique fact: this was the peak of the hippie movement, with artists like the Grateful Dead and Jefferson Airplane rising to fame. 2. The first human space probe lands on another planet, October 18, 1967. The Soviet Union's Venera 4 becomes the first spacecraft to successfully enter another planet's atmosphere and transmit data back to Earth. Unique fact: Venera 4 sent back information from Venus for 93 minutes before being crushed by the planet's extreme pressure. 3. The first successful human heart transplant, December 3, 1967. Dr. Christian Barnard performs the world's first successful heart transplant in South Africa. Unique fact: the patient survived 18 days, and the procedure paved the way for modern transplants. 4. The first Super Bowl is played, January 15, 1967. The Green Bay Packers defeat the Kansas City Chiefs in the first ever Super Bowl. Unique fact: it is that it was the only Super Bowl in history to be simulcast on two networks, NBC and CBS. Since CBS held the rights to NFL games and NBC had the rights to AFL games, both networks aired the game simultaneously. 5. The Monterey Pop Festival becomes a rock revolution, June 16 to 18, 1967. The Monterey Pop Festival introduces Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and The Who to mainstream America. Unique fact: Hendrix famously set his guitar on fire, creating one of rock's most legendary moments. 6. The Six-Day War in the Middle East, June 5 to 10, 1967. What happened? Israel fights against Egypt, Syria, and Jordan, winning a decisive victory in just 6 days. Unique fact: Israel gained control of Jerusalem, the West Bank, Gaza, and the Golan Heights, shaping Middle East politics for decades. 7. The U.S. protests against the Vietnam War intensify. Mass protests erupt across the U.S. as people demand an end to the Vietnam War. Unique fact: in Washington, 100,000 people gathered, and some protesters marched to the Pentagon. 8. Thurgood Marshall becomes the first Black Supreme Court Justice, October 2, 1967. Thurgood Marshall is sworn in as the first Black U.S. Supreme Court Justice. Unique fact: he was the lawyer who won Brown versus Board of Education, ending school segregation. 9. Elvis marries Priscilla Presley, May 1, 1967. Elvis Presley and Priscilla Beaulieu are married in Las Vegas. Unique fact: their wedding cake was 6 tiers high and cost $3,200, over $27,000 today. 10th. Rolling Stone magazine publishes its first issue, November 9, 1967. Rolling Stone magazine launches, covering music, politics, and pop culture. Unique fact: the first issue featured John Lennon on the cover dressed as a soldier from How I Won the War. 11. The Beatles release Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, May 26, 1967. The Beatles released Sgt. Pepper's album, redefining rock music and launching the psychedelic era. Unique fact: it was one of the first concept albums meant to be listened to from start to finish. 12. The first Boeing 737 takes flight, April 9, 1967. Boeing introduces the 737, which would become the world's best-selling commercial airplane. Unique fact: more than 10,000 Boeing 737s have been produced since 1967. 13. The first handheld calculator is invented. Texas Instruments develops the first handheld electronic calculator. Wild fact: it could only perform basic math but cost over $1,000. 14. Disney's The Jungle Book hits theaters, October 18, 1967. Disney releases The Jungle Book, one of the last films personally overseen by Walt Disney. Unique fact, the song The Bare Necessities was nominated for an Oscar. 15. The first episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood airs, February 19, 1967. Fred Rogers debuts his beloved children's television show, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which would go on to educate and comfort generations of kids. Unique fact, the show's signature theme song, Won't You Be My Neighbor, was written and performed by Fred Rogers himself. That's 1967. From flower power to groundbreaking music, what was your favorite moment? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this blast from the past, hit that like button and subscribe for more.